Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. I'm your host Lex.
I'm your other host Dan, and we are your weekly video game news podcast here on chipbit.net, Chipbit Radio. You can also find us on all sorts of social media, such as
Twitter, YouTube, Steam, iTunes, and something else. Facebook. The one we actually use the most is the one we forgot.
We needed outside assistance for that one.
Thank goodness.
I was doing vigorous hand gestures while you were telling people all those social medias.
It's important.
That doesn't play for radio.
It's Friday, June 15th.
Yes.
And we have got all sorts of cool stories. Most of them are Pokemon related.
Most of them are about Pokemon.
But yeah, what are some of these stories, Dan?
We're going to talk a little bit about Evolve, the little game that couldn't, that came out last year?
I think last year.
I don't even remember any details about this game beyond the concept. Because Evolve has been going through a lot of changes. It has been evolving, so to speak. And we didn't talk about that last week, but it's been interesting. We got some Overwatch news, a fair bit of Overwatch news, actually. Because some new patches are coming out there, and some new game modes have been added, and everything's looking pretty good for them right now. We got a ton of stuff, as we said, about Pokemon.
Talk about people who are looking good. Nintendo's looking good.
Nintendo's looking pretty good. We have all sorts of stories about Pokemon Go, like good, bad, everywhere in between. A little story about PewDiePie. Which is fine. We got a little story about Valve, as a little follow-up to our last week's story about Counter-Strike Go gambling.
Oh.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive, not like Pokemon Go.
No.
You're not trying to catch terrorists and Pokeballs by walking around.
Gotta catch all the terrorists.
Gotta catch them all. And, well, there's a little story about No Man's Sky, and then we'll be looking at some upcoming titles and things that just came out. So why don't we jump right into it? We won't get into Pokemon just yet.
Not just yet.
Let's just go in that order. Let's talk about Evolve first.
Okay.
This is sort of more of a story from last week.
Kind of.
Continuing into
It became a bigger deal this week.
Yeah.
So last week, Evolve, Turtle Rock Studios, who make Evolve, decided they were going to change things up. And they were like, Evolve is going free to play.
Yes.
So you could just download it off Steam, you can play it, and then there are like microtransactions if you want to like level up your guy faster or whatever, or get special items.
This article is from July 13th on Game Informer's website.
Yes.
And they put it quite well, I think. How did Turtle Rock Studios and 2K completely change how the 300 people playing Evolve on PCs are experiencing the game? And they said by convincing more than 999,700 more people to join them.
Yep.
Because a whole lot of people have started playing Evolve since it went free to play.
Yeah, its player count went from maybe we don't know if it was 300. It was probably 300.
I bet that's actually like a number that was on Steam when they announced this.
All the way to 1 million.
Yeah. So good for them.
Man, that is a dramatic increase in 1 week.
Hey, not having to pay for the game makes it a whole lot more appealing.
I downloaded it. I'm playing it.
I haven't.
It's pretty good.
I'm still just not interested. The new Monster Hunter game came out. What the hell do I need Evolve for?
Some of us don't have fancy Nintendo 3DS Lite Goes.
New 3DS Lite Goes.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
I'm 2 models behind.
Yes. So yeah, the game, they just changed their whole payment model. So yeah, like you said, there's now microtransactions to level up your character, which I think are the most disgusting kind of microtransaction. But point remains, you can go play the game for free. They've made it as pay to win as you can possibly make it at this point. But at least for now, a lot of people are still playing it. Do you think, Lex, that this is a temporary spike? Like a very temporary spike? Where this game is going to be very popular now for a few weeks, a month or two, and then just fall off completely again? Or do you think that this is going to allow it to hang on a bit longer than that?
It is more interesting than Titanfall, so it should last a little longer than that.
Fair enough.
It's going to go down from 1 million. There's no way it's going to sustain that.
It's peaking at that right now, but
I think it's probably it says in this article that the game peaked at 51,000 concurrent players recently, Oh, I thought it said what it was when it first came out. I don't know. But the, I wouldn't be surprised if it, hovered around 300,000 or something, which is still such a dramatic increase for them that they would be happy with it. It's, so I played it, and there are offline modes, but they're all just training modes.
Okay, yeah.
So
it's like play as the monster and learn how it works.
Yeah, so if you want to, and there are like some arena modes in offline too, but they're not as much fun because the bots are like, I mean, they're fine, but they're not particularly smart. So the only way you're going to get anything out of this game is go play online with other people.
Oh, this is interesting. Currently, the game is actually completely free.
Yeah.
The cash transactions haven't been added into it yet.
Oh, they haven't added those in.
Yeah. But I believe that they are planning to.
Yeah, I remember.
Right now it's just called Evolve Stage 2.
Yes.
So there's probably more stages.
I remember.
Stage 3.
Well, yeah.
The plan ends at Stage 2.
But yeah, and there's, when you play, you get like coin things, and then
silver keys.
Yeah, and then you can use those to buy perks and
open
stuff.
Mario doors.
Yeah, the character design, the voice acting, the graphics, and everything are good, and it controls really well.
Yeah.
It's just again like after playing it, I have the same criticism that I had before I played it.
There's not enough variety.
Yeah, it feels like a game mode from a full game that you've just turned into a whole game in itself.
Because there's still, in all the time since it released, there's still only 5 monsters and like 1 game mode, which is Hunt the Monster.
And there are 4 classes.
4 classes.
There might be more than 4, but
there's multiple characters in each class, though.
Yes, and they have slightly different weapon layouts.
Yeah.
So they play a little differently, but not like super
but that's
differently.
It.
Yeah.
That's what you got.
It's just if this game had just come out with a full campaign, like single player campaign, I'd be all about it.
Probably would have done a lot better.
Because the gameplay is like really tight. So I would have loved to play through a campaign in this.
Right, but I mean, in that case, it fell prey to the all too frequent modern problem of like, oh well, we just want to do multiplayer, so this game is entirely multiplayer focused, and we're not going to bother doing like an interesting single player experience. And sometimes that's worked out for games, like depending on your game, that's fine. But like you said, with a game like this that has this kind of interesting concept and good gameplay and stuff, why not just try and make a cool single-player campaign out of it? Although if it only had 5 monsters, it would still be pretty short. Because, I mean, what do you do?
I mean, when you play the game, you're like, when you don't know where the monster is, you spend all your time tracking it, which is actually super interesting and well implemented.
Yeah, because you actually have to follow footprints and sound cues and things like that.
And again, that made me feel like if this had a single-player campaign, that's what I would be doing in it, and it would be great. But yeah, I don't know. Time will tell with Evolve. I think mostly when you have a game like this, you really need to build it with the mindset of having it appeal to competitive play and tournaments and stuff, which Overwatch certainly is.
Yeah, Blizzard's pushing that super hard towards like being an esports mainstay.
Yeah, I think if you look at any of the big multiplayer games,
that's what
they all have some form of esports presence, because all the MOBAs like CS:GO does, Overwatch does.
That seemed like, ooh, I can't even stop. That seemed like it was not the end goal for Evolve, though.
No.
Like, this game doesn't come off like that was thought of, even thought.
It doesn't seem like it went into their game design at all, but if they wanted to be a multiplayer-only game, it should have been.
Yeah.
Because that's how you survive in that market.
I'm trying to think of other multiplayer-only titles that have come out recently.
Titanfall?
I mean, Titanfall, but Titanfall 2 is adding a campaign.
Yeah, they learned from that mistake.
They're actually adding a campaign to Titanfall 2, so they're different in that respect now. Well, speaking of multiplayer shooters, how about Overwatch?
Oh, Overwatch. They released news.
They have released a whole lot of news. Currently, on the PC version of the game, well, first of all, the console version is now caught up to the PC version as far as patches. They released a big patch that applied the character nerfs and changes that they were planning on doing, that they had already done on PC and were still planning on adding.
Yeah.
And they added competitive play back in on both PC and consoles now, so the competitive play mode is still a big thing. I've played a little bit of it. It's pretty intense. Those matches last a really long time because they really push it to be like, no, you gotta prove you're good. Get good. I haven't finished all my qualifying matches though to get my skill rating. I'm sure I'll be terrible, but I have 2 wins and 2 losses, I think, out of the 10 matches you need to do. But yeah, they and now on PC there is a big test server going up, so they're doing a big patch, beta patch test basically.
Okay.
So you can apply to be a part of this, and then go and play the game with all these new changes they're going to be implementing in the next large patch, including the introduction of the game's first brand new character, Anna, who is the mother of the currently in the game character Farah. And
that's who she's the mom of. Because I was like, she's definitely somebody's mom in this game.
She's a cool old Egyptian lady.
Yeah.
She's like Old Snake from Metal Gear Solid 4, but a lady.
She is like that.
She's a lot like Old Snake, and I'm super happy about that. No, she looks great. The trailers they released of her are super cool. Her abilities are super interesting. She is the 5th support character in the game, which rounds things out, because there's been 5 of every other class besides support. At least 5 of every other class besides support. So support was lacking someone. They added her in. She's a support sniper. So she uses a sniper rifle that hurts her enemies when she shoots them, but heals her allies when she shoots them.
Yeah, I think that is a super interesting character concept. And although when it hits an enemy, it doesn't work like you'd expect a sniper rifle would, where it doesn't just deal a bunch of pinpoint massive damage.
No.
It hits them and poisons them, so they take damage over time.
It's like she has venomous darts basically. She also has a sleep dart ability, which seems like it could be really interestingly utilized in a game like this.
And she has some sort of grenade ability that I saw in the trailer as well.
She has a healing grenade.
Oh.
So you throw it into a cluster of combat, and it heals your allies who are involved in that combat encounter. And her ultimate is a supercharge for another character. So she fires a dart into someone on her team, and it gives them a boost to everything. Speed, damage, health, all that. So she seems like a really great character, and it definitely fills a niche that none of the other characters already have. So she's being tested out. There's a lot of changes being made to existing characters. Diva, the tank, is getting some buffs, which were kind of long overdue at this point, but Blizzard themselves said, we're not really sure how to fix her, so we gotta sit on this for a bit. And Zenyatta, one of the other support characters, is getting some buffs that some people think he really needed and other people don't. I'm happy he's getting them, but...
Is he the robot? The Zen robot?
The Zen robot.
Oh.
Yeah, he's cool. He's getting a boost to his health, which a lot of people were saying, the big problem with him is he just dies super fast, which is kind of true. So we'll see how it goes in the test server with giving him some more hit points to work with. But I'm excited. All this stuff is great because it's just showing they're still supporting the game. They're going to keep supporting the game. I'm psyched to see what other characters they come up with and add to it later. And the addition of competitive mode has been very successful. People are playing it like crazy. So hopefully that's telling Blizzard that people actually want to have a competitive scene in this game. And we'll be seeing it at esports tournaments and stuff, which will mean it'll obviously stay around and keep getting characters if it makes it to that.
Yeah.
And I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want the game to keep getting new stuff because I like it. So yeah, Overwatch, cool. Should we talk about Pokemon Go?
Let's jump into it.
Let's jump right into it.
So
where to begin?
I mean, let's begin with the story.
Sure.
So Pokemon Go came out how many days ago?
Came out on the 6th, so 9 days ago.
9 days ago.
Over a week.
On the 8th, 2 days after it came out, Nintendo's stock market value increased. How much?
By a lot.
By a lot. People like Pokemon Go. So Nintendo's stock market value increased by $7.5 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Which I think is around 25-30%.
Sure. I don't know what their value was before, but that's a huge, huge increase for any company in any circumstance.
And we're getting this information from Reuters, from an article from July 11th.
Yes.
Wow.
You don't really need to say much else about that. because the number itself kind of tells you everything you need to know.
This is one of those things where, like, we've always read in the past about how Nintendo has, like, a war chest, so when one of their projects doesn't go as well, they sort of have money to fall back on. But I was worried because after the Wii U, I was like, man, the NX better be a success, or they might actually start being in trouble because you can only, like, draw on your reserves for so long.
But
now they're fine.
Yeah.
They got plenty of money now.
Now the NX probably doesn't matter as much.
No. The NX can be a total flop. They're still making so much money.
I actually think it's funny because a lot of people have been saying now that the success of Pokemon Sun and Moon doesn't even matter at this point, with how successful Pokemon Go has been. Like, the mainline Pokemon title that's coming out at the end of the year, it could flop.
Yep.
No one could buy it. They wouldn't care. They'd be fine.
Yeah,
it won't flop. Yeah. But it could.
There were some funny statistics. Android released, like, their user data of who was using what apps.
Uh-huh.
And Pokemon Go has surpassed apps such as Tinder, and is fast approaching, or no, it was neck and neck with Twitter, and that was as of a week ago, or thereabouts.
Oh my god.
So right now it actually may have surpassed Twitter.
That's amazing.
But this is on Android devices, and no one uses those, so...
I use that.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
That's really just an iPhone in disguise.
I'm not feeding into Apple's bullshit. You can get out of my face. So yeah, the stories for this game keep on rolling out. So I feel like there's more to talk to here than just how much money Nintendo's making, because that's implicit.
Oh, there's a funny line from this article that I totally disagree with. Pokemon Go may not prove an immediate boost to Nintendo's bottom line. It is free, and Nintendo is not the sole investor or creator. You don't understand what whales are, Reuters. You just don't understand.
There's already whales in this game. I mean, it's you, the listener. It is safe to assume that Lex and I are both playing Pokemon Go.
Oh, yeah.
And we are, and so is my wife. We're all playing it.
Everyone is.
And all of our friends are playing it, and all of their friends are playing it, and my mom is playing it. She caught a...
Al Roker was playing it on the Today Show.
Yeah. My mom caught a Tauros at the laundromat.
Oh, nice. That's good. Good for her.
She's doing just fine. She's almost level 5. Gonna join a team. Gonna join Yellow Team.
Better.
This is a Yellow Team only podcast, by the way. If you're on Blue Team, you're alright. You're fine. But if you're a filthy Red Team...
Get out of here.
Please stop listening. And if you're a Patreon supporter of us, just withdraw your support, please. I'm just kidding. All teams are welcome. If Pokemon the Movie 2000 taught us anything, it's that all of the birds need to work together, or else the world is doomed.
Exactly.
That's what that movie was about.
Dude, Mewtwo learned a powerful lesson at the end of that movie.
That was the first movie.
Oh, okay.
Mewtwo learned a powerful lesson because Mew was trying to go all, like, eugenics on his clone Pokemon. And he was like, oh man, I'm gonna cut this out.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody's playing the game. What I kind of want to talk about more than anything with this is the sheer amount of things that are changing in the world because of Pokemon Go, or like seemingly unrelated, or things that are completely unrelated to Pokemon or Nintendo or whatever that are being affected by just the existence of this game and the fact that it's taken off so much. Like already, there's been a huge increase in like traffic accidents since this game came out.
Yeesh.
And I'm going to say this is good and bad. There's good things here and there's bad things here that have happened as a result of this game. There's like already signs up on highways that are like, "Don't Pokemon Go on the go." Like, they're doing it already.
Don't Pokemon Go and drive, which is something Dan has not paid attention to.
I had to catch a Geodude!
Funny story. Funny story. I was tailgating this guy the other day.
It was me!
And I was like, who's going so slowly and why do they keep veering to the side of the road?
I was on the back road!
And then I went to pass them and I'm like, oh, it's Dan.
I wasn't flying down the highway.
No, you were not. That would have been extremely dangerous. You were not. You were doing the least dangerous type of Pokemon Go and driving.
Yeah. Saw Geodude. If it were Pidgey, I wouldn't have cared.
I know, right? Who cares about Pidgeys?
How was that?
I think it was my... my iPad with the notification settings I did not know were turned on.
Cool. But there are businesses that are Pokestops in the game and gyms who are capitalizing on that fact. There's a bar that is a gym, and whatever team is currently in control of the gym, they're giving a discount on drinks to. If you can prove you're on that team.
That's great. There's a barcade near where we live that's a gym.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't even know that.
Also,
that must be a mess.
This is going to be funny for Dan and not necessarily for our listeners, but there's a business that we both know and both dislike that is heavily against Pokemon Go. Like, they have posted things online about how you're not allowed to play in the store.
The place where I used to get my thing?
Yes. Yep.
Interesting.
Which is just another piece of evidence.
And that's another reason why we don't shop there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
but no, it's funny because the whole business.
Are they a Pokestop or anything?
I think they're very near one.
Oh, okay.
But it's funny because there has been speculation that businesses such as Target and Walmart have paid like the Pokemon Company to make their stores Pokestops to generate more business, because obviously more people coming into your store means that they're potentially buying stuff from you, and so that's a good thing.
Well, and that's why there's businesses that have already made little like signs, like local businesses that have made signs that are like, we're a Pokestop, and they just put it out front so people know. There
are also some great signs that I've seen online of businesses that have made for their employees saying, hey, I don't care if we're a Pokestop, if you're at work, you can't just play Pokemon all day.
I can't remember the last time a game came out, if ever, that has had this much of like a tidal wave effect through society.
I know, right? You know
what's crazy.
You know what's weird to me though?
What's that?
Is that there are still adult people on the news and stuff who are talking about this, like, what is this new Pokemon thing? And I'm like, dude, Pokemon have been part of the cultural zeitgeist for the past 20 years.
Yeah, it's 2 decades old.
Like, they were a smash hit card game that every young person was playing, and that made headlines in the 90s.
Yeah.
So if you still...
kids, like, beating each other up to steal Pokemon cards from each other.
So if Pokemon seems like a new thing to you, it's not that you're old, it's that you haven't been paying attention.
Yes.
Because this is not new news.
Yeah. How many dead bodies have now been found by people?
At least 2. There have been 2.
2 publicized.
Yeah, 2 confirmed reports of dead bodies. One was, I think, like on the other side of like under an overpass or something.
Yeah.
That this girl found, and another was in a river. Some guy was looking for water types, and instead he found ghost types.
Several deaths and injuries as a result of this game, including 2 dudes who were looking for Pokemon on the beach and walked off a cliff, and a girl who tried to cross a freeway and got hit by a car and killed. Oof. But it's like, you tried to cross the freeway to catch a Pokemon. What are you doing?
That's pretty dumb.
Like...
That's Darwinism right there.
You can't really blame that on the game. So... There's been some really interesting stuff about, like, museums and cemeteries also. Like, museums, churches, and cemeteries, which are places that would typically be Pokestops or gyms, that have found out that they are and are like, we don't want this. We don't want people coming here, like hallowed ground, and playing this game.
Yeah, there was apparently a story from yesterday or something about how Niantic, that's how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah.
Have an official sort of form that you can fill out.
They just put that out yesterday.
Yeah, where if you are running a property or something and you're like, I don't want this to be a Pokestop, then you can file that and be like, please take this off, and they supposedly will. I mean, it's one of those things where they're probably backlogged so bad right now that it'll take them a while, but I assume they will.
That they have also put on their website a form you can use to request that a place be a Pokestop or gym. So you can go on there and be like, there's this mountain near my house that doesn't have anything.
You know what that's going to be funny about that is there's been all these stories about how the Westboro Baptist Church in America, for those not American listeners.
Yeah, they're jerks.
They're jerks. They're horrible people. And they're
also very small. It's a tiny group of people, actually.
Yeah, it's like a couple of families that just live together.
Yeah. But everyone makes it sound like they're this huge organization. No. They're not.
No. But they have a Pokestop or a gym at their place. So everyone's been like taking it and then putting Pokemon
named like Stop the Hate and stuff on it.
Or like Big Gay Pokemon.
Yeah.
Or one of them is a Magma, or what, I don't remember, the fire duck guy.
Magmar.
Oh, Magmar, that was it. Its name is Satan. And its CP is 666.
Whoever managed that is a hero.
Yes, but so that was up there. So I think it's funny now because now the Westboro Baptist Church is definitely going to fill out that form to be like, please make this not a gym. And then a million other people are going to put in forms saying, keep it a gym, please.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I heard a story about some people who were pulled over by a cop, and they were playing Pokemon Go in their car. And the cop, instead of ticketing them, just was like, please tell me about this game so, like, I understand what is going on here. Because he's like, we've had so many calls and just, like, events where our officers have been finding people playing this game in weird places or in their cars, and we have to, like, deal with it, and we don't get it. We don't know what's going on. So they were like, just please tell me how this game works and why all these people are going into, like non-entry areas and trespassing.
I have a story about that.
Yeah.
I work at a college, and apparently, like, right out front of the bookstore, there's this big, like, stairwell and this big parking lot area, and they made that a gym. But the problem is that whole area is sectioned off right now because they're doing construction there, so you can't get to the gym.
Yeah.
But that's not stopping students from trying. So they've been putting out all of these campus emails being like, hey, just a reminder, don't go into the construction zone. It's super dangerous. But they're not saying in the emails that it's about Pokemon Go. So I think that the people who are, like, in the administration are just hearing that there are reports of kids that keep wandering into the construction zone, and they don't understand why.
Why are they going to the construction zone?
So I was talking to some faculty people, and I was like, no, it's definitely because of Pokemon Go, and there's, like, a form that they can fill out to try and move that, and they should. Because kids aren't going to stop.
A guy from the National Park Service in the United States put out a video, like, today or yesterday, saying, like, hey, all you Pokemon trainers, I see you've been going to more national parks. We have tons of cool national parks all over the country, and they're really cool, and you should visit them, and you gotta catch them all. Like, it was really cool. He's just this old dude who's like, hey, this is actually a thing that's making people go out and, like, go to these natural landmarks and, like, parks and places. So he's like, hey, come support your national park.
Yeah.
It's closest to you and play your stupid Pokemon game, but, like, you're still doing a good thing and getting outside.
There have also been lots of reports of people who have depression and social anxiety who would normally never go outside, but are going outside because they have to play this game.
And meeting people.
Yeah, and interacting with people.
Actually interacting with people over, like, a common interest.
Yeah.
Which they would not otherwise be doing.
So it's interesting.
I've been exercising way more since this game came out.
You're already skin and bones, Dan. Stop exercising. You'll fall apart.
I gotta be stronger, skin and bones.
God dang. Eat a sandwich.
I've been going for runs and catching Pokemans. Like, just in my neighborhood, and it's nice. It's an excuse to actually exercise.
We're gonna look back at this someday. You know how
I get a good reward for exercising, not just, like, being healthy.
I know.
Can't catch a Pidgey.
But no, you know how there was that series, that I Love the 80s series?
Yes.
And how they would just talk about, like, the huge fads of that
God.
year? If they do I Love the 2010s, this is going to be like a whole episode. It's going to be about Pokemon Go.
It's going to be like, remember when Pokemon Go came out and the world changed?
Yeah.
But talk about, like, the most successful possible release of an augmented reality game. Because it's an AR game, and it's actually changed how the world is functioning.
Yes, although if you're saying the most successful release of an AR game, that's not a high bar to clear, because there really haven't been very many.
That's true.
But if you're,
but what are the chances that another AR game is going to top this?
No, none. But I would not hesitate to say this is the most successful iOS game that's been released, and if it surpasses things like Twitter. If it surpasses, like, Facebook on iOS, I might say it's, like, the most successful app that's ever been released.
Ripley's Believe It or Not, who I didn't know still existed and were doing anything, are giving away $5,000 to Pokemon Go players who find rarest Pokemon around their, like, attractions throughout the country, or various countries. From today, July 15th, until July 24th in the US, UK, and Australia, and Canada, where Pokemon Go is not yet available. If you catch really rare legendary Pokemon, they'll give you $5,000 $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I think is silly because there's a lot of... I don't think most of the legendaries are actually available. I think they're being saved for, like, events and things like that. So I kind of doubt anyone's actually going to do this.
Maybe that was Ripley's plan all along.
I don't believe it. Do you believe it or not?
Oh, that was bad.
But it's because they have... various Ripley's, believe it or not, like, locations have, like, a bunch of Pokestops around them, so it's like, if you catch one at one of our Pokestops, we'll give you tons of money! Oh, I'm getting a message here.
Our producer is handing us notes.
Stores are giving discounts to people who are completing their Pokedex.
Oh.
Like Hot Topic.
Oh.
Everybody's favorite store, Hot Topic.
I mean... Listen, if you're a 15-year-old edge master who just needs to catch them all, Hot
or
Topic
just a nerdy girl.
Yeah. Hot Topic is definitely where you're going to need that gift card to. Or that discount.
You gotta catch them all for that, though. Filling out your Pokedex in this game could take a while. Like, that's pretty tough.
How many are there? There's 150?
There's 150 Pokemon.
Yeah, I've only got like 30 or 40.
And presumably they're going to be adding more. Because there's way more Pokemon than that.
Yeah.
And they'd be stupid to not add more iterations. Like, once the game's been out for a while.
You remember, I don't know if you remember this, but we have a big group chat on Facebook among all the people we know who play.
Yeah. And a couple who don't.
Yeah, a couple
who participate in the chat.
You guys, can you go swimming with contacts in?
Yeah.
It's like, what are the questions? What are the non-players asked?
Yeah. Oh, he's a treat.
Yeah. But no, the, one of the people, like, we were talking early on in the chat about, like, how, hey, when do you think they're going to implement trading? And one of the people was like, I don't think they're ever going to put trading in, because, like, they made the statement about how they didn't ever really intend anyone to catch all the Pokemon.
Originally, they also did say, like, we have no plans on having trading in the game prior to its release.
But I read a story this week in which they talked about how they're going to add trading.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, they're going to add trading. Come on, Andrew!
Yeah.
Jesus!
Yeah. The thing with with trading, though, is that becomes a sticky situation fast.
Slippery slope. A sticky, slippery slope.
A sticky slope.
A ravine.
A ravine. Because depending on how they handle it, it could very easily be abused. And in a game like this, if it's abusable, it will be abused.
Yes, it will.
It will be abused a lot.
Because everyone's playing it, which means all the jerks are playing it, too.
Yes. My wife and I actually had a conversation about how they would have to implement trading, like, to make it not broken, to make it not completely mess up the game. And you would either have to... You would, number one, probably have to have some kind of system set up where Pokemon can only be traded for Pokemon of a similar or same CP.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just trade people crap for really strong stuff.
Makes sense.
And you would possibly even add a system in where if you trade a Pokemon to somebody, say, I trade my Butterfree to you, then you could never trade that Butterfree back to me.
Or to anyone else?
No.
Oh.
I would think that you could trade it, that you would still be allowed to trade it to other people, but the idea of being able to trade back and forth between the same two players can definitely become an abusable mechanic.
Yeah.
And break the game. So they would have to lock it out. They would have to make it so if you trade a Pokemon to someone, that person can do whatever they want with that Pokemon, but trade it back to you.
Mm.
Because then you can use it to fill out your Pokedex, you can use it to do whatever, but you can't, like, give someone your super strong Pokemon so they can go take a gym with it because you can't make it there that day. And then they can just give it back to you at the end of the day. That seems ridiculous to me. Or you and your friend can't just, like, put all the strong Pokemon on one person's game temporarily to go do whatever. So that's probably why they can't just add it right away, because they need to figure out how to do it in a way that's not going to cause problems.
Yeah.
Battles between players are also an interesting thing that people want, beyond just the gym battles. And that's also tricky, because if battles between players can give experience points, how do you stop two people from just battling each other nonstop all day, every day? And like me and my wife could just battle each other nonstop and get experience points and level up infinitely.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yep.
So you gotta figure that out. There's a lot to figure out here. And I think there's a lot of people saying, oh, just add the thing in, they should add this thing, but it's really not that simple.
No.
For pretty much any of these mechanics.
And it's why I'm glad they weren't there on launch. Like,
Yes.
a lot. I think some people have.
The game's janky enough right now as is.
Yeah, there is plenty of reason to keep a lot of this stuff under wraps until later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the good and the bad and the ugly of Pokemon Go. The ugly was the dead bodies.
The ugly, yeah, I guess that was, yeah.
In case you didn't.
That makes sense.
Because you didn't know.
So yeah, all sorts of cool stuff there. The game's gotten more stable since release too. They have patched it.
Yeah.
I believe the patches aren't available on Android yet, but they will be soon.
As soon as they are, definitely got to pass Twitter.
Yeah.
Some other Nintendo news, and this was one of the articles that was voted on by our Patreon patrons.
Yes.
Which is really neat and very tiny.
It is neat and tiny.
Yeah.
So on July 14th, this is an article from Polygon, Nintendo announced a mini NES, which is a standalone device that doesn't connect to the internet, doesn't support physical media, but includes 30 old NES games. It's coming out, when is it releasing? Is it holiday season? I can't remember, and I feel like this article doesn't actually say. Anyway, it's $60, and it includes 30 original games. There's a little list of them, as well as a replica of the original controller. You can buy a second controller for $9.99. The games it includes with, that are included with it, are Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Oh, that's a real gem. Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Dr. Mario, Excite Bike, Final Fantasy, Galaga, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario Bros, Mega Man 2, Metroid, Ninja Gaiden, Pac-Man, Punch-Out! Featuring Mr. Dream,
Yes!
Star Tropics, Super C. I don't know what Super C is. Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Tecmo Bowl, Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
So these are all of the notable NES games.
Yes.
There weren't any that I was like, well, what about that NES game?
An interesting thing is that some of these games are not available on Virtual Console.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Bubble Bobble is, or at least, not on Wii U. Some of these are available on Wii or 3DS or both, but they're not available on the Wii U. And that's Bubble Bobble, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Final Fantasy, Ice Climber, Punch-Out!, and Tecmo Bowl.
What? Get with the program, Wii U.
Also,
Come
the
on.
Wii U doesn't run a lot of the Virtual Consoles games quite as well, so that makes this a little more appealing too. If you really want those retro games.
Yeah.
It comes out November 11th. I found the actual date. So it's another little holiday season thing to hold you over until the NX comes out in March.
It's going to cost you 60 clams.
60 clams. 70 clams if you want to do two-player. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
It's really cool, though. It's a neat idea on their part to release this little, like, pseudo-NES. Polygon put some frequently asked questions up in their article. Will this game play NES cartridges? Nope.
They wouldn't fit. It's too tiny.
It's too tiny. You cannot add anything to it. It's a standalone device. No internet, no external storage, no nothing. They don't have any external storage. They're not going to discuss technical specs.
Of how much storage it actually has.
I like the question, is this running via an emulator? And they say, we're not discussing technical specifications. The answer is yes. Yes, it is running by an emulator.
Of course it is.
Of course it is, because that's how that works. Each game has multiple suspend points, so you can start where you left off at a later time, which means it's an emulator.
Yeah, because that's how emulators work.
Will it support video emulation mode like scanlines or CRT? They'll confirm those details later. It outputs via HDMI, which is interesting.
Oh,
considering it's like NES games.
I was looking at this, and because none of the games have been changed at all, so they haven't been scaled up, or like they haven't changed the aspect ratio, so they're all still 4:3.
Yes.
Which is going to look a little weird when you play it on your TV through your HDMI port.
But it's better than it being all stretched.
Yeah.
Admittedly. So, in addition to the NES Classic Controller, the Classic Controller and Classic Controller Pro are also compatible with this. They can be plugged directly into the console, but when using two, one of them has to be the NES Classic controller. They have nothing to announce as far as other mini systems yet, and you don't have to blow on it to get it to work.
I don't know, I'd like that feature. I'd like it if they reintroduced that feature. That'd be good.
What, blowing on it?
Yeah.
Their answer was some things are best left in the 80s, which I disagree strongly with. But that's a cool little holiday season thing that they're putting out. I think it's a really neat idea. Let's talk PewDiePie.
Oh, so this is a super interesting story that I posted to social media. It's technically the article that we're citing is a follow-up article,
Yes.
but it is from July 13th from Polygon. And it is entitled YouTube Star Responds to Charges He Concealed Pay-for-Promotion Deal with Shadow of Mordor. So you probably remember Shadow of Mordor came out a couple of years ago. Great game.
Really good game.
Really good game. Apparently, Warner Brothers approached a bunch of YouTubers, including PewDiePie, and said to them, "Hey, here's some bunch of money. Why don't
a copy of our video game?
Yeah, why don't you talk about it?"
Which is not uncommon. This happens a lot. I think JonTron just put out a video that was a sponsor deal with like a phone game or something, and he made this like funny little video to advertise it that was very entertaining. No interest in the game, but the video was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very clear, like, this is a sponsored deal.
Yeah.
And typically these YouTubers will say, like, this is a sponsored video.
Yeah.
I'm playing this as a sponsor, so if you don't want me to be selling you this game, don't watch the video.
Now in 2014, when PewDiePie did this, in his video in which he played the game, he had lots of fun playing it. He talked about how great it was, probably because he actually liked the game, because Shadows of Mordor is a rad game.
It's not hard to believe that he liked playing.
Yeah.
It was actually like a really good game.
But in nowhere in the video did he mention that he was being paid to do that. However, in the description of the video, it said it was sponsored.
Yeah.
Now, there's legal action going on because of this. People are being sued. And most of the fault we're finding is lying with Warner Brothers games, because they were the ones who actually gave the money and said, hey, YouTubers do this. And the FTC, there's been all sorts of rules with the FTC in other medium, like television specifically, about how you have to, and even on the internet on certain forums, like different websites and stuff, about how you have to tell that you're being sponsored.
Yes.
But on YouTube, in 2014, there were no rules about that. So actually, not only did PewDiePie not have to include anything in his video, he didn't have to put anything in the description. And that would have been totally legal for him to do that.
Interesting.
So him putting something in the description was actually him going the extra mile.
Yeah,
to tell people it was sponsored.
Right.
It still feels a little bit like a cop-out, because I'm like, well, why didn't you just mention it in your video? But this article is only partly about that. It's also about how when this story broke, all of the headlines all over the place was
like, PewDiePie broke the law.
Yeah.
Like, basically.
And it's all his fault, and he is the most important player in this, when really Warner Brothers is the most important player in this.
Yeah.
So PewDiePie made a response video, which is what is at the top of this article, which I encourage you to watch because it's super interesting, because it's about him being like, hey, I'm a big target, so everyone's saying that I'm the one at fault, but like, A, I didn't break the law, B, there are other people involved in this who nobody seems to care about. Like Warner Brothers.
There's tons of other YouTubers.
Tons of other YouTubers.
And no one's being mentioned.
Yes, most of the other YouTubers have been proven to not only not mention it in their videos, but also not put anything in the description, which again was legal. They didn't have to do that, but it's wrong for PewDiePie to get the brunt of the blame because he actually did more than most.
But PewDiePie makes a better headline.
He does make a better headline.
Saying that it was PewDiePie makes a better headline because he's such a big guy.
So then he's talking about all the social media flack that he's gotten for it and all the people being mad at him. This is interesting because because remember we did a story on him a while back about how he disabled comments on his YouTube videos.
Yes.
Because he felt like the YouTube community was just kind of toxic, so he didn't want to have that.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. But
to some degree,
it's interesting because a lot of his video came off as like more like that. Like I just don't like he doesn't want to interact with the mean people on social media, and the problem is there's lots of mean people on social media.
I get that, but at the same time, pretty much every other YouTuber of his sort, and I get that they're not as big as him, every other YouTuber of his sort leaves comments enabled and does all their social media stuff, and that's that.
There's also
just put up with it or ignore it.
There's also sort of this age-old question of celebrity that I have had many conversations about with different people in different instances, where how much should we expect a celebrity to deal with based on how much money they are making? So it's like, PewDiePie, you're making millions of dollars. You could deal with some hate mail. And there's a school of thought that says, like, yeah, you could deal with it, suck it up, you're a millionaire. And then there's another school of thought that says, yeah, just because he's a millionaire doesn't mean he deserves to get shit on 24/7.
Right. And I mean, different people have different levels of tolerance for that as well.
Oh, certainly.
There's celebrities who, regardless of how famous they are, get tons of crap and just don't care.
Yeah.
And there's others who get called stupid one time and have a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
It really just depends on who you are. So maybe PewDiePie's sensitive. Who knows?
He's a delicate flower.
A delicate flower.
A delicate Swedish flower. Or is he Swedish or is he Norwegian?
I
can never remember.
I think he's Swedish.
Yeah.
I think we've had our ups and downs with PewDiePie on this podcast. We've done some stories where it's like him being a cool guy, and we've done a couple stories of him not being such a cool guy.
I'm actually not sure how I feel about his response to this.
Yeah. Based on the information we've been given, he wasn't in the wrong here.
Mm-hmm. And he certainly wasn't in the wrong legally.
Legally, no.
But at the same time, I feel like
it's wrong also that people are unjustifiably targeting him as
totally.
That's totally fine.
But at the same time, I always think back to like when he made that video or other sponsored videos.
Yeah,
and like, dude, I know you're not legally required to say someone's paying you to do this, but like, why would you not do that?
I mean, and it requires a degree of forethought in some ways too, because all of this LPing on YouTube is kind of a new industry. It's very recent at this point still. Things are still being worked out around all
Which is
stuff.
why the FTC's rules for this didn't come into effect until 2015.
Right. Perfect example of what I'm saying. And a lot of the people, I think, who are getting famous through this stuff aren't necessarily or were not initially when they, like earlier in their careers on doing this, thinking about ramifications of things like that. Because PewDiePie is immensely popular on YouTube, but like you think about how old the guy is, he's not very old. He kind of came into this fame on YouTube making these videos. Sort of, I mean, you could kind of call it out of nowhere because, he started making videos and got popular.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, the moment he becomes popular and starts making tons of money and becoming this YouTube persona doesn't immediately give him omnipotent or omniscient knowledge of how he should be doing everything to do it all perfectly.
No, certainly not.
That comes with time and that comes with experience. So at the time he made that video, on the one hand, you can say, yeah, he should have just said something in the video, but on the other hand, I don't think you can really point a finger and say he should have known to do that.
Yeah, and I don't think he should have known, but I think he should have. I don't know. That's just something that I would assume because that's how it works in every other industry,
right?
And it's not really common knowledge,
right? But I guess what I'm saying is it's still relative to those other industries. This whole YouTube star LP industry is new.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that in other industries that's implicit.
Yeah.
That you do that.
And people know that.
But
I'm not coming out against PewDiePie. I just think it's a super interesting discussion.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to be said about all this.
And one of the things I agree with him on 100% is how he talks about it in his video. All of these news sites are just using his name as clickbait.
Yes. Which is entirely believable because clickbait's the word of the day.
Oh yeah.
At this point, your website survives on clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
And what better clickbait than PewDiePie, the criminal? With a little picture of him like behind bars or something that someone made in Photoshop.
That's great.
Yeah, because I could design clickbait.
Yeah, no, because you could take like any of his screen caps from when he's playing like Amnesia or something.
Yeah.
and just put some bars
Put
over
some
it.
bars in front of it.
It's super easy.
Write like criminal blood underneath it. Put that on BuzzFeed. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see more about how this shakes out. It's another story to kind of follow along with, because there's a lawsuit going on involving it, right?
Oh yeah, and
so
WB is getting sued.
On.
So it's actually one of the things that I have not heard about this very much is you know Gamergate.
Yeah.
And how their whole argument was like, man, people keep getting paid for video game reviews. Something should be done about that. Well, now something's being done about that. Companies that pay people to do positive reviews are being sued. And I hear very little from the Gamergate crowd.
That's because that's not really what Gamergate is about.
It's totally not. It's one of the things that proves that it's not what it's about. It's just about them wanting to hate women on Twitter. That's all.
Also, Gamergate is not... Like, no one cares about Gamergate anymore.
That's true. It's also
not... It's completely blown away.
Yeah.
Like, it's a non-issue anymore. Gamergate, what was that? That was like a million years ago.
Yeah. That wasn't this summer, that was last summer.
That was last summer.
That was so last summer.
So yeah. We did a story last week about... Steam gambling through Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
And all those super shady third-party sites.
And now people are like, Valve, why don't you do something about this? Valve's going to do something about it.
Yeah, it turns out Valve is like, wow, there's like a lot of heat on us right now. We should really do something about this.
About that. Gotta compete with Pokemon Go.
Exactly.
So yeah, on July 13th, there's an article from Polygon. Valve is apparently starting to crack down on third-party websites that use Steam to facilitate gambling through Counter-Strike. We did a big story talking about how third-party websites were using...
Yeah, go check out last week's podcast.
And how there was a whole lot of embezzling going on and, like, false advertising and trickery and...
T. Martin and Pro Syndicate.
I didn't even remember their stupid names. They were horrible.
They're horrible.
I feel like I got, like... burst blood vessel watching a video of one of them talking for too long. But they ran a website for this like gambling stuff, and they were advertising it in their videos on YouTube and Twitch, and saying like, oh, I just went to this website, I won a few bucks, it's pretty cool, they offered me like this sponsorship deal, and they ran this website, and they are now saying like, no, we didn't say, we said we were, we were a part of it.
It was common knowledge.
But they didn't.
Didn't you know?
They didn't say a damn thing about it. They acted like they just stumbled across it.
So now Valve is like, well, people accused us of making it really easy for third-party websites like this to exist, so we're gonna not do that.
We're gonna make it harder. So the trading features were added in 2011 that allowed this stuff to start happening. And it's been made popular in games like Counter-Strike Go because you can buy, sell, and trade virtual items such as weapon skins, which is what the majority of this gambling's going through, because you can get real money from these weapon skins. So you can use them as basically casino chips. They're an intermediary for getting your money. Since then, number of gambling sites started leveraging the Steam trading system. There's been some false assumptions about our involvement with these sites. So Valve's like, no, we didn't do it. They clarify they have no business relationships with any of them, never received any revenue from them, and that Steam does not have a system for turning in-game items into real-world currency. So yeah, these websites like CSGO Lotto, CSGO Lounge, and CSGO Diamonds have recently come under fire thanks to a lawsuit being filed by a player against the owners of these sites and Valve Corporation.
It's funny because Valve is just like, because there was speculation earlier on that not only did Valve allow this to happen, which they certainly did, but also that they were in some way profiting off of these sites.
Right.
In more ways than just the
lawsuit kind of postulates that as being the case.
So one of their things is like, no, we have no revenue stream from these sites. We just created the environment that these sites that allowed these sites to exist, but we're not getting paid by them.
Valve has been silent up until this article, basically, and they still have not said how they plan on shutting these sites down, what they really plan on doing, and it's unknown how this will affect the lawsuit as well. Because if Valve turns around and starts fixing this problem, one would assume they would be dropped as from being part of the lawsuit.
You know what would be really funny?
What?
If they decide to fix the problem by making it so that third parties can't get access to these items to put them up on the site, but then Valve just institutes its own gambling thing as part of Steam. And they have some sort of restriction where it's like, hey, if you don't meet the age requirements, you can't do this.
That would be hysterical.
But otherwise, you can just gamble. So they're just like, wow, look at how big this industry is. We don't want other people doing that. We just want to do that.
I guess you are allowed to gamble online.
Nah, not really. Sort of. You have to. There are all sorts of things.
What, do the servers need to be on, like, certain pieces of land or something?
The servers need to be run by Native Americans.
They need to be run by Native Americans.
No, it's there are all sorts of there's paperwork, because I think the way it works is if you can't be an independent company that then tries to do online gambling.
Gotcha.
You have to be an actual real world casino that then does online gambling as part of their thing.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how the law works.
Cool. Great.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to see how Valve handles this. Takes care of all these problems.
However they handle it, they're going to come out with a lot of money.
So before we look at games that just came out and games that are coming out, I wanted to mention a little story from last week. It's from July 7th, and we didn't mention it, but it's a really quick mention. No Man's Sky's finished.
It's finished.
It's not out yet, but it's actually finished now.
No more death threats?
No more. Maybe there's probably. I bet there's still some death threats.
Yeah, probably.
But the game's coming out on August 9th, as we reported previously, when it got delayed. But as of last week, Sean Murray confirmed in a tweet that the game has been finished. It went gold. He posted a picture of him and his team holding the disc of the complete copy of the game.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. They did a little hey, we did it! We made a video game!
It's coming out.
So when it comes out in the next few weeks, I'm sure we will be talking about it.
I'm so ready to be disappointed by this game.
I'm concerned.
Because there's been so much hype, I'm like, it can't live up to it. It just can't.
I want it to be cool, and I've been trying very hard to not really hype myself up for it. But I hope it's really cool. My wife's really excited for it, and she's giving me a weird look right now. I want it to be really good.
Yes.
But I'm just I just have the fear,
I got the fear in me.
The fear in me. So what has just come out?
Let's see. Fallout Shelter for Windows came out, because why would you play Fallout Shelter on your iOS? Why wouldn't you play it on your PC?
And why would you play Fallout Shelter when Monster Hunter Generations came out today?
Oh, dang!
Guess what I'm doing after the podcast? Playing that video.
Oh, game. Yeah. Adrift came out for PS4 today.
All you PC users, go pick up Under Night in Birth EXE Late. Came out last week. Earlier this week.
Earth Defense Force
4.1.
The Shadow of New Despair.
The Shadow of New Despair.
New Despair. No, Earth Defense Force, I've seen lots of gameplay from that game, and it looks amazing.
They're delightful. They're super, janky budget title third-person shooters.
Yeah.
But they have, all the charm in the world.
Yep.
Because they're just so unapologetically stupid and janky.
Yeah, you fight all these random aliens, sometimes you fight giant ants.
And robots and stuff, and it's got crazy physics, and, buildings explode.
Amazing.
They're great. They're super cool games.
I Am Setsuna. I have no idea what that is.
That is probably some weeaboo game. Oh, no, that looks very pretty, actually. What? What's going on here? Some sort of RPG.
Look at this artsy thing.
Some sort of RPG with a very pretty logo.
On the 22nd, which is when we will have our next episode, right? That's Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Starbound is coming out.
Which one is Starbound?
You know what? I thought I knew, and now I don't remember. I need to check.
Procedurally generated. This sounds like No Man's Sky.
Oh no, I thought this was something else, but it still looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it could be neat. I don't know what Human Fall Flat or The Assembly, or 10 Second Ninja X or Tumblestone. Or obliteracers.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is.
I don't know what any of this is.
We're in a little bit of a dry spell, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, just play Monster Hunter.
Just play Monster Hunter. That's the moral of the story today's show.
Just play Monster Hunter.
It's
like Pokemon Go, but with more murder.
So this has been Don't Copy That Floppy. I have been your host, Lex.
I've been your other host, Dan.
Now, you can find us on all sorts of social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, YouTube, Steam.
That's the one. Don't grab my finger.
You just put it out there. I couldn't stop myself.
I was pointing at you. I was like, are you going to remember all 5?
I almost didn't. So we have a full show archive, which is up on both iTunes and on chipit.net.
Yes.
Where our show is hosted, an amazing website where you can listen to chiptune music all the time.
Do it.
Except for when we're broadcasting Fridays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Also,
that's correct.
There are 2 other shows, or there's one other show and one show that I think it started. Yeah, I think they've done like 1 episode.
Okay.
There's Remix Mondays, which is a Monday show where they're doing some sweet jams and some DJs hosting it. The guy who runs the station is doing that, James. And on, I think, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, we haven't set a specific day yet, Inner Geek, the comic book and movies and other geekiness podcast, that's when that airs.
Oh.
It's great. I'm doing it with my friend Andy.
Yeah.
It's great. So we did our first episode. It's up there. It's so good. You should check it out.
If you check us out on iTunes, please leave a review.
Oh, we definitely do that.
Appreciate it.
That'd be great.
I don't think we've got anything else to say.
I think those are all the plugs that we can plug.
We plugged a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no, there is one other plug.
What plug?
We're on Patreon.
Yeah, we're on Patreon. Give us money.
Give us money, please.
Please give us money. We'll do a Twitch stream, maybe.
We'll record a sexy voicemail for you.
You have to give us a lot of money for that.
Oh, yeah.
But if you do, we'll make it worth your while.
But other tiers involve stuff like you can vote on stories that we say from week to week. You also get shout-outs on the show. I'm going to do a shout-out to Betsy Sullivan.
My mom!
Yeah. What a nice lady.
Shout out! Also, we should probably give a shout-out to the nice man who runs chipit.net.
He's not so great.
He's cool.
I just talked about him a minute ago, about the show he's doing.
I'm going to shout out to him again.
Okay, well, go ahead.
That wasn't a shout out. I just did it.
Okay.
I've mentioned him like 4 times, so it counts as a shout out. Alright. So, until next week, remember...
Don't copy that floppy.